Austin 316
with a nasty temperament.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
Got your attention?
Damn!
I love Ron Simmons.
Yeah. Well, hello, everybody.
So, fellas, we're back. We've been off for a few weeks.
We have been.
I was at a con last week. Papa hasn't been feeling well. Pop's back, baby.
Yeah.
Our leader, the head of Thursday Night Sweet Chin Music, episode 8. Biggie is on a phone call, and when he gets back, we'll just work him. Hey, there he is.
There he is.
What's up, Big?
Hey, I'm here. What up, everybody? Hope you're ready for some real wrestling action at the Papa Willie Home Channel Hub, dude. We're going to do this tonight, man. Good to see Beckerman and the Comic Viking, dude. Good to see y'all. Thank you for having me.
Nice to see you, bro.
Well, Pop's been on me about doing my homework, Biggie. and the homework he wanted me to do is he wanted me to watch a video, and I know you've seen it. And it was Vince Russo, Al Snow, and some other guy talking about AEW being an unsafe place to work and how somebody's going to eventually die.
Yeah. My 2 cents on that one is, Papa Willie, I appreciate your assertiveness and trying to have a structured program and asking for us to have some topics, but at the same time, me and Becker naturally, and I believe Comic Viking probably gravitate towards this stuff without even being pointed in the direction. So we got told a little late, but I would imagine that all of us have seen this.
I have watched it. I watched it when Pop sent it to me today.
But I didn't see it, so don't listen to him.
You said something before the show, and I think you're right. We already knew this. It's an unsafe place to work.
Yeah.
I can like some of the wrestlers and say, like, I like Penta, El Cerro Miedo, but I wouldn't want him dropping me on my head. That's for sure.
No.
I like Ray Phoenix. He drops people on their heads too. Like, the Lucha Bros are cool, but there are some stiff working guys in that company.
So do you believe it's all just lack of training?
Yeah, and I just think it's a new era of wrestling. These are guys that grew up in the, watching Mick Foley take the bump of all time off of the Hell in the Cell, but they don't think about what it all meant. You know what I mean? They didn't think about why he did it. They just said, "Oh, I want to do that, but I don't want to just do it on a pay-per-view once every year or something. I want to do it every Wednesday night." And you can't work like that. You can't work like that.
I mean, you kind of can in your 20s, but you're going to have a short career.
Well, it's
Does
like
anybody think that Darby Allin is going to have a career at 45?
Probably
No.
not.
I don't think he's going to have a career in 4 to 5 years. I think he'll have to retire.
I
agree.
mean, the only person that took that kind of beating and kept going and going and going is Mick Foley. I mean,
And even he didn't. You know what I mean? Like, he had his years where he did different gimmicks where he didn't have to do that stuff anymore. And it was hard for him because he felt like he owed it to his fans to put himself through that. And it took people like Ric Flair telling him, what are you doing to yourself? Like, and Ric Flair's probably a bad example because he didn't like Mick, but Hogan, all of the old guys, Sergeant Slaughter was the one I was trying to think of. Jim Cornette. These guys all told him, "Mick, what are you doing? You don't have to do this on a Monday Night Raw,
Well, he kind of got labeled the hardcore guy, and it wasn't just him wanting to do it. I think a lot of guys take advantage of people. That's why you know, I've always appreciated. They call it theatrical wrestling. Some people do, and I like to think of it as old school classical, where the boys took care of the boys. You make it look as gruesome and as tough as you can, but you don't actually hurt each other.
Yeah.
You look at a guy like Jeff Hardy, and for years his finisher has been the Swanton, where he's taking a pretty high risk bump. If he doesn't rotate right, he's landing on his neck, he's landing on his head. It's clearly taken a toll on him, the style of wrestling he's done. Multiple concussions, just recently had another one. And it has led to multiple bouts of substance abuse for him too. You look at a guy like that and you say, was it necessary? You know, could he have gotten the crowd there based on his personality, you know? And I feel like he could have. I don't feel like the crowd has wanted him to hurt himself for many years. Like, I think we all want him to take care of himself. We care.
Well, I think it's different because you saw what when they had the hardcore championship, you know, basically rumbled in by Al Snow and his group that he had. I mean, it was him and Hardcore Holly always going after each other for that championship.
But they worked relatively safe, especially by today's
standards. It's crazy how much they actually did, but yet they were safe about it. You know, because they went they were all over the arena. I mean, it wasn't in the ring. That thing never, that match, a hardcore championship, never went in the ring.
Very few of these modern trampoline cowboys understand the psychology of wrestling. Like, they don't get it on a Jake the Snake level where you can get a reaction out of the crowd by doing less. And also, you know, with the, especially visa, you know, regarding like the Jeff Hardys and some of the riskier stuff they did later in their career, there's a law of diminishing returns of that stuff. You know, if I see you do a swanton one week and I see it another week and another and another, and 2 years later you're still doing it, it's kind of lost its meaning to me. Like, how am I supposed to react to a suplex off the top rope? You know what I mean? If I've watched a guy do a 750 splash off of a ladder 16 feet in the air, how am I supposed to react to a guy getting splashed in the corner?
Hence why Sting had to move on from the Scorpion Deathlock to the Death Drop. He developed a new finisher.
The answer is money, Pop. I can't imagine he was smart with his. But yeah, I don't know, Biggie, what do you think? Are these hardcore guys putting themselves out of business, you know, by having to do riskier and riskier stuff?
I think that the some of the greatest that's ever done it have learned, if they're going to stay around, that you got to take care of each other and you don't hurt each other and you do safer moves. You don't want to mess your knees up. You don't want to mess your hips up. So it comes off as dumb. It comes off as uneducated. Sure, it's athletic. Sure, you're busting triple flips and you're doing suicide bomber dives, and it looks fun and stuff like that, but people learn through experience. I think these guys are young, dumb studs that don't know no better, and they got to learn through experience. They think they could do all the moves. I mean, even look at Brock Lesnar when he used to do the flip off of the top rope, right?
He did a shooting star press for a minute there until he really messed himself up.
Yeah. And it wasn't set up right. You know, I keep going back to Hogan, but he had a million matches and he done about the simplest thing you could do. The most painful thing he did was a leg drop. I mean, his earliest stuff in his career was a little more physical.
Papa Wheelie rolling his eyes.
Yeah, I'm not watching Pop. I gave up on him. He always I mean, Papa, I'm telling you educated shit right now. I don't know why you want to fight with me, but yeah, that's my thing. It comes off uneducational, and it's not going to get you. I mean, Darby was supposed to be the workhorse for the last tag match. I appreciate Darby for inspiring Sting and kind of helping him get through all this, but the tables thing was, it took all the shine off of Sting's work. Like it could have been better, you know. It didn't have to be all over TikTok and Instagram. He cut his back up. You know, who cares about your stupid stunt car crash bullshit? You know, that's how I feel.
It felt like a waste of his talent too. You know, the thing is Darby's a personality. He's a good wrestler. He can do cool stuff. I think he has talent, but unfortunately, he is dedicated to putting himself into a short career. I don't see how you can work like he works and get 10 more years. I don't see it happening.
Unless somebody grabs him and schools him a different way.
I don't think he's interested in doing it any other way. Now he's prepping to go climb Mount Everest. Hats off to you, buddy. Have fun. I hope you don't die, because legitimately I like the guy, but I'm not going to watch him kill himself on TV. That's not fun for me. James Willie, what do you think? AEW, too unsafe?
I think they have a lot of people going into business for themselves doing unsafe things. I think based on them having guaranteed contracts hurts as well, because, I mean, if you're guaranteed a contract and then you're not wrestling all the time, say you're only wrestling once a month, then you won that once a month that you want them to talk about it so that you can get back on again. Or you could get injured and then stay home.
Yeah. Right? Or you could be Miro and just stay home and not even get injured.
Well, I mean, you got to remember too that a lot of these guys are wrestlers for other reasons other than just liking wrestling, right? Like a lot of them have really big egos. A lot of them have egos based on performance enhancing drugs they take. You know, anything that they can do, like it's a sad truth, right?
If the Young Bucks are on steroids, they better get a refund.
No, but they're just, you know, they're using their power-ish. I think that they're using it more like a storyline, you know, kind of like the whole Authority did before.
Yeah,
you know?
They might not fit that stereotype, but they definitely fit the stereotype of being the triple gainer flipper guys. Look, how about we just think about this for a second? Can we name anybody from AEW that wrestles smart?
He retired.
MJF.
Yeah, I was thinking he retired for sure, Stinger. But I mean, even there, he probably
he spent the last year of his
should have quit a while ago, to be honest with you. You know, like, and the fact that his record went perfect, you know, like there's got to be something there. I don't think it was just Tony saying like, no, we're gonna let you keep winning.
Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe feels like he does feel like the smartest guy. I was thinking that before you said it. He'll even get out of the way of dumb shit. He'll walk away from it. So I really applaud that guy. It's become his
gimmick.
I love when he does that, when he just like steps out of the way. It's just so funny to me. He's like, nope.
It makes sense to me too. Like, what am I supposed to stand here waiting to catch your dumb ass as you?
It's
catch
like watching a cartoon, like exit stage left, like immediately left, like. Pew.
I once watched what's his name, Commander, take 40 seconds to run the ropes because he had to catch his breath, get up on the turnbuckle, run the ropes, and do some stupid dive. While the guy he was wrestling had to stand there like an idiot with his dick in his hand and be a complete joke. You know, it makes you look stupid when you're just standing there dazed. And what happened to tag team wrestling? Guys like FTR, who I respect, this stupid thing where, like, when two guys are in the ring and the guys on the outside are just sitting there waiting for their cue like idiots.
Yeah.
But their buddies getting beat up 2-on-1. But it's not time for you yet. We got to all get our stuff in. Man, can you imagine telling Big John Studd, all right, we're going to have you just stand out there looking dazed for 2 minutes? Hell no.
Oh, for
I mean,
sure.
even Samoa Joe. I mean, Samoa Joe kind of protects himself, but he does kind of wrestle a little strong. You know, like they abuse each other. Like even Sting had to conform to AEW style and ramp it up. You know, it's kind of weird.
So do you? So we said it's a lack of training, but you also think it's a lack of charisma out of the wrestlers that are in the industry right now in EAW, where they can't win over the crowd just themselves with their gimmick. They have to do
100%.
They don't understand
automatically.
psychology.
Like, to be honest, like I love him, but Eddie Kingston isn't a really good wrestler. So for him to be given a bunch of belts, to me, is kind of like, you know, and like it's kind of gimmicky because he's really stiff, you know, and it's like, I don't know. To me, I go to like little shows and I see guys that wrestle better than Eddie Kingston. You know what I'm saying? Like,
with Eddie Kingston, though, you know what frustrates me about him is he had people eating out of the palm of his hand when they were talking about his story, because he has such a good story and he tells it so well. But instead, he wants to stand in a ring and do fake, phony-looking machine gun chops because he, in his head, is the second coming of Antonio Inoki, and he's some Japanese strong style wrestler. But you're right, he doesn't have the physique for it. He can't work that style.
Like, to be honest with you, the charisma, he's really like just monotone.
The charisma's there when he told that story about, like, he was legitimately homeless, living out of his car.
Well,
wrestling.
look at Darby. Darby was an ex-drug addict that was homeless.
And we want to love that story. We want to love these guys. And then you got Darby throwing himself off of the Empire State Building,
Unnecessary,
doing a triple Lindy, and you got Eddie looking like a blown up beach ball, freaking slapping people weekly. Like, it's not fun. I don't want to watch him, but I'd love to hear him. Sorry, I've gone off on a tangent. I'm going to take a break. And I agree. I also, before I shut up here, I agree with Biggie, actually. Pop, this time you're wrong. Hulk Hogan worked 10 times the amount of dates these AEW wrestlers do, entertained millions more people, and did a fraction of the crap these idiots have to do. So Biggie had a really good point about Hulk Hogan.
It's really hard to like think of another example for me a lot of times, because all of the top card people, they kind of couldn't do it, but Hogan was able to, because he talks about it in his interviews, how you don't try to hurt people, you know. But Stone Cold got hurt. Rock's pretty healthy, but he hit the road, you know. Cena hit the road. All of them.
Rock did get hurt in his last match against Cena. His hip fucked up. Because you see in there, he reaches in his shorts to make sure his bone didn't pop out. But the Stone Cold got hurt because Owen Hart, they talked about it beforehand, that Owen Hart told him he was going to do the tombstone, and Steve Austin's like, you're going to come down on your knees, right? And he didn't. So he did the move wrong. That was all Owen Hart right there, not Steve Austin.
Yeah, he did that to someone else too.
Dan Severn.
Severn, that's right.
Yeah.
Good call, Becker, dude. That's exactly. And Severn begged him not to do it.
So did Austin.
Well, Austin was on board if he came down. If he
No,
did it
Austin
right.
kept saying you're going to do your knees, right? No one's like, no, I'll go to my butt. And Austin ended up giving up and saying, yeah, man, all right. I mean, you're a heart. What do I know? Like, apparently, you know a safe way to do this.
What's up, G-Man?
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think that they are taking a law of unnecessary risks, and there's no repercussions. Like, they're not going to get in trouble. They're going to get another match next week. You know, like how many times has Will Ospreay done a move like that? You know, in the last month, like 2-3 times, I've seen him try to do different stuff or allow different stuff, and it's unsafe. You know, not even just for yourself, but for the person you're with. Because if you hurt yourself while you're wrestling another guy, and then that dude's going to feel like it was partially his responsibility, you know, because he may or may not have let you do that.
Well, it partly is.
So
Look at Macho Man when I think he injured his ribs or something, and he would come down harder with the elbow drop. That's a little rough, you know.
what's up, Katie?
Well, I'm going to read Pop's comment from the private chat. According to WrestleNomics, 801,000 viewers watched the show on Wednesday night, drawing a 0.27 rating in the 18 to 49 key demographic. The viewership is up from last week's episode when 779,000 viewers tuned in. The demo remained even from last week's episode, which also drew a 0.27 rating in the same demographic. And yeah, it's never going to get better than that. This is the basement for them. I feel like they used to be doing, when they first came on the scene, 1.5 million people, and now we're down to 800,000.
I think when you started getting me to watch AEW a little bit, because you and Mark were talking about it, and I'd go and I'd check it out. It was different. Now I believe that they're just, you know, he's just throwing stuff at the wall, hoping it sticks, hiring as many wrestlers as he can, and just throwing it at the wall, seeing what can stick and see what he can, you know, get the most out of. With really no plan at all.
Allegedly, based on things the Wrestling Observers reported, as well as people like the Wrestling News, which are two different sides of the wrestling world. You know, they don't necessarily agree with each other a lot, but they're both getting from their sources that Tony Khan's having a hard time getting guys to do what he asks them to do.
What's up, Anthony Blaze?
When you give them guaranteed contracts, it's going to happen.
Yep.
And people just going home and you're going to pay them?
Yep.
Stop their paychecks.
No, that's not what Tony Khan's doing over there.
Yeah, because he wants to be everybody's friend. I'm just saying, can you imagine the wrestling business if, like, a guy like, I'm trying to think of a guy lower on the totem pole. Could you imagine if you know, Brutus the Barber told Vince back in like 87, you know what? I'm not feeling this week. I want to win, or you know what? I'm going to go home. Good,
Fired.
Stay there.
Yeah, stay there.
Yep.
I mean, maybe if you were a top level guy like a Flair or a Hogan or somebody on the upper echelon or
Prevent them
Warrior,
from jumping back to WWE. That's all it was. Guaranteed contracts. That's all it's about. It's like he's trying to keep his assets. He's doing it more so like a sports organization. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I would highly think that WWE is looking at these guys that want to come from AEW. If they're looking at their work and where they're doing high risk maneuvers that are possibly injuring people, there's no way they're going to hire
them. They keep Nia Jax employed.
Well, I hate
who's
her,
her cousin?
But
Yeah.
I'm just saying
I
they
mean,
keep her void. She's super
she has no wrestling ability. I'm sorry. You look at her in the ring, and she is worse than Andre the Giant. I mean, she's worse.
Well, I mean, she's best known for My Hole. I mean, that describes it. You know what
I
I'm
was
saying?
just looking for that clip so I could play
Like,
the audio.
what's her claim to fame? My Hole. Oh wow. Like, next. You know what I mean? Like, wow, she's big, but I mean, how many girls is she going to injure, and then continue to injure? And she's arrogant about it too. You know, like, I've got my modeling I can fall back on. Like,
Plus size modeling. Who'd have thunk it?
to each their own, man.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind her except for the unsafe part.
She's not a good wrestler.
Yeah, she's not safe.
No,
She's not. She's
not
got
even a good
nothing.
wrestler.
She lands on
she
people.
brings nothing.
Who was that poor gal she pancaked recently? She bonsai dropped somebody and did not halt any of her weight. She just dropped it all on her. Awful stuff. Tiffany Stratton.
Oh,
Tiffy time.
She pancaked Tiffany Stratton.
Tiffany Drax is like this.
Oh, you're gonna get in trouble, Pop.
Yeah, you are, Papa. That's okay.
Yeah, cut it out, Pop. Stop it. Thank you.
You can't stop him. He's a wild card. He's a maverick.
Just
Look at him shake the ropes. He's basically the ultimate warrior.
Big deal. Copyright strike. So what?
No, they'll take his whole channel. They won't just be a copyright. It'll be you're suspended.
Yeah,
90 days.
WWE's pretty vengeful. So let's move on to women's wrestling since we're talking about Refrigerator Jacks. Sasha Banks appeared Wednesday night at Big Business AEW.
CEO.
Who do you put her against? Who would you put her against? Let's go around the horn. Alan, who's a good opponent in AEW for all of their issues going on in the women's division? Who would you put her against in her first pay-per-view?
I have no idea. I don't watch
Biggie?
AEW.
What's the chick that does the black and white shit?
Tony Storm.
That's the only girl there with a half a chance of having any talent besides the new one. That's
Would you put the title on her in their first pay-per-view?
Oh yeah. Well, who are you saying? The CEO.
Sasha Banks. Well, sorry, Mercedes Moné.
Okay. Yeah, Mercedes, sure. She should get the belt because she's the main draw in their women's division now. Yes.
And she's Snoop Dogg's cousin.
Jesus.
I'd say put her in there against Julia Hart.
Ooh. Would you put Hart's title on her?
Yep.
Okay.
Just
I
because
don't hate either of those.
That'd be a really good feud to start her. You know, because I think that Julia Hart is a bigger draw than the other girl, to be honest with you. You know, championship wise.
Yeah, but the crowd might turn on you. Those guys really like Julia Hart.
That's why it could be really good, because you can have the John Cena sucks, you know, Rocky sucks going on kind of deal, where you got the two polar opposites.
I don't hate either idea. I probably lean towards not putting a preliminary title on her and like Biggie said, just put the world title on her. Honestly, they don't have that strong of a women's division, so I don't know if you just don't slap the title on her right away and let her build it up that way. Pop's typing something up. While he does that, I'm going to check
Do you really want
if
me
he
to?
sent us anything else for agenda. I want to make sure I hit all the topics. Otherwise, he yells at me.
He wanted topics from us, but I don't really. I mean, the only thing bringing all these new fans is the Rock, Cody, Seth, Roman stuff, really. But it's up to y'all if you want to talk about it.
You could put her in a backstage performance with Soraya, and it accidentally gets leaked.
Has anybody been watching A&E?
No.
Do you really want me to say? I always want your opinion, Pop. You type out whatever you want Mercedes Moné to do that is suitable to talk about on the air.
I think A&E's doing a doc on either Scott Hall or Dusty Rhodes, right?
I think they
Something
just
like that.
did Scott Hall this past weekend. Or this past week, I think they did Scott Hall. Before that, I want to say it was Sergeant Slaughter, maybe? Was the one before that. The Scott Hall one was good, of course. Sad, of course. The Sergeant Slaughter one was pretty damn good, too. I forgot how popular he was and how much money he made off of G.I. Joe.
A lot.
Like, he made enough money that he quit WWE for a few years because Vince told him he couldn't do that. And he was like, it's paying pretty well.
Well, he
So
shows
he
up to
went and
Joe
did it.
Fest here in Augusta every year.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
He had quite the career.
You know,
One of
the
first
thing. I'm sorry.
You go,
Go
Biggie.
I never really appreciated his body style. Like, he just looks like I mean, the jawline is great, but his arms were never really cut. He seemed like a strong dude and everything, but not very imposing. It's like the match where Hogan. I know Pop hates this, but when Hogan, he was a main WrestleMania main event at like what,
WrestleMania
50,
7.
yeah, like 50 at like 55 or something. Like, how old was he in that? He looked like a phys ed teacher in middle school or something.
Honestly, I bet he was around 50 or late 40s big.
Yeah, they just looked old to me, but it was, I don't know.
WrestleMania 7 was kind of a miss for Vince's booking, you know. The people just didn't really, on the heels of the G.I. Joe series, I don't think anybody really wanted Sergeant Slaughter to do the Iraqi sympathizer.
That's why it
Bad
had to
guy.
happen, was because it was so over. You know, like, to me, it really, that's what made it pop even more. Because if it was just some other person instead of Sergeant Slaughter, it wouldn't have made a big difference. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it was psychologically cool, but still at the same time, like, he didn't look like the same kind of athletes that the rest of the card had. Like, he looked like the most out of shape one, and he was in the main event. You know, I don't know, dude.
It doesn't stick out as a great WrestleMania main event, does it?
I don't think so.
No. So Papa Wheelie says the only reason Mercedes Moné went there is to wrestle Paige Saraya. She will do a 3-match run with her and get the fuck out of Dodge and bounce to WWE. Maybe? I don't know if Saraya could do a 3-match storyline without getting injured. I think they'll have her go through their what qualifies as their top roster. Tony Storm for sure. Where's Jamie Hayter? Is she back yet? Is she still injured?
I
Who
can
knows?
tell
With
you.
AEW, you never know. It's just an island of where did that person go?
I'd be
Maybe
lying
she'll
if I said
wrestle
I
that.
watched it every week.
Maybe she'll wrestle that parakeet. Ruby Soso. Oh, sorry, Ruby Soho.
Such circumstances.
Yeah. Hey, Marcus, we got pro wrestling at the end of the month, buddy.
Where are you going to see?
CSW. His tag team is wrestling my tag team. The Howlets are going to lay a beating on the premiere.
I don't know.
Shut up, man.
You know what I like to do?
I'm looking
like-
at this Sergeant Slaughter thing.
I like to get everybody on the panel's predictions for the Rock thing. I think that's been fun because Willie James was saying he did say the tag thing happened, and it seems to be going in that direction. So yeah, so let's see what everybody's got to say about that. Kind of. Does that sound fun?
Okay. Well, let's start with you, Biggie. Predictions.
All right. I still am in the camp of Rock's going to turn on Roman and help Cody win. I don't know how. I don't know why. I mean, I'd like to think Hogan has something to do with the streak, but I know you are tired of Hogan. But that's the direction I think it's going, because there's just so much subliminal stuff going, and I think that's the smartest way to spin this is Rock turn on Roman. That's my prediction.
James?
I think
Start
that
typing now, Pop.
I think that Roman and Rock are going to lose, but I think they're going to lose straight up. And Cody's going to pin Rock, which is going to cause Rock to kind of be on the outs on Roman's end. And then maybe something along those lines happens where, like, he gets pinned, Roman blames him. Maybe Roman tries to get them to attack him, and then you find out that what's his name's been a plant this whole time.
The Rock?
Solo.
Oh, Solo Sikoa.
There's been a plant for The Rock. The bloodline's actually going to be a different. There's going to be a bloodline, but it's going to be Romanless after WrestleMania. Call it a hunch.
That's pretty smart, bro. There's definitely some signals that could happen. I see where you're going. That's pretty good.
Will
Yeah.
Heyman side with The Rock in that scenario?
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, that makes sense. And they're kind of teasing it with Heyman's facials.
Well, think about the lineage, right? Heyman was the original guy that brought them, in ECW, his brothers, his family,
Damn, Papa.
What did he say? Oh, here we go. Can we get you to 5 Hogan comments? We are only at 3. LOL. I don't think it's been bad this episode, and every time he's done it, except for the last one where he brought up the WrestleMania, he had good points. So
listen, Hogan needs to win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal at WrestleMania 4.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That's another.
I would want to
prediction.
be in whatever room Biggie Shaq's in if Hogan wrestles at WrestleMania.
Beth hates it because she'll pick my wife will pick my brain about wrestling stuff, and she'll be like, what do you think's going to happen? And then as we're watching it, she's just like, you told me this 3 months ago. Like the ongoing joke was she would be like, you're the Raw Anonymous general manager, like from way back, because that's how long we've been watching it. And she's like, man, you always just kind of know which way the direction's going. And I'm like, you just see it, I guess. I don't know. Watching it since I was like 5, also helps. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. I'll lay off of it, Pop. I'm getting annoyed with it myself, so don't worry, bro.
I don't think it was bad this episode, and you hit a really good point of how Hogan works.
Actually, a very good point.
I appreciate it, guys. I don't want to seem dumbed down. That's all I know about, but I do hyper focus on it a little bit. So
You're a fan.
I am, and the Roman Reigns breaking Hogan stuff is definitely in the back of my head. So I'm sorry. It is current. It's current. I mean, I can't help it.
I also don't think that Roman is going to lose to Cody.
So you don't think Cody finishes the story? I'll tell you,
he has to. Well,
if he doesn't,
listen.
the story,
I'll wait till I give my prediction.
He'll finish the story next year at WrestleMania when he fights the Rock. When he fights the Rock for the title.
Oh God, I hope you're not right. Oh,
because after Roman beats Hogan's, he's going to lose the belt and he'll retire. He'll quit.
Man, he actually said that in a interview or something. I've seen him say that, like, I'm going to take this belt, I'm gonna keep it for 5 or 6 years, and then I'm gonna retire. I seen him say that. It's weird.
All right, recommend your prediction.
What about Evil John
says he's got a better idea. Well, I hope if Cody doesn't finish his story, I never want to see him again. I will never watch another Cody match. I'm just done with it because I'm tired of this guy talking about his story.
It's going to be bad.
I'm not that big of a fan of him right now, but I'm willing to buy in.
He'll go on the biggest losing streak you'll ever see until next year when he wins.
I don't know. I watched Dolph Ziggler
when he wins the Royal Rumble 3 times in a row, and then, like I said, goes on to fight The Rock or John Cena, maybe.
So a 3-time Rumble winner, Cody. I just don't know if he could get me to believe again. That's kind of like
John wants to come back, and he wants to do the evil character. And, like, why wouldn't you let him break Ric Flair's if he's finally willing to? Because he wasn't before. He was like, I don't want to,
All right.
Give him the belt.
Take a screenshot of the chat.
All right, Beckerman, what do you think's going to happen?
Oh, I see what he said. Papa Wheelie says, I love you, Biggie. I love Hogan, too.
I turned him. My psychological ploy worked. Thank goodness.
Woo! Oh, boy.
Yeah, what do you think, though, Becker? We're back to you. What do you think?
I think I kind of like the idea of The Rock and Roman being at odds. I don't know if they'll lose their tag match. I think Cody beats Roman, and I think The Rock and Roman battle for the bloodline at SummerSlam. That's my guess.
That's a hell of a poignant predict. I like that. That's strong.
I just feel I don't think you can keep the crowd carrying, feeling for Cody. If he loses this one, I think you'd endanger him becoming the new Dolph Ziggler.
Ouch.
Where the crowd loses faith. Do you remember, James, how over Dolph Ziggler was?
When he had Big E, like that push?
When he won the title, the crowd went nuts.
Yeah. I can't remember that match and the one where he basically saved WWE or whatever and had to win a triple tag match by himself because everybody else on his team got disqualified. That was a big one for him.
If Cody wins at Mania, Cody wins it at MSG later this year. Okay.
I want to know Alan's prediction too. I don't think I got his yet. What did you say, Alan, could happen?
All right, so I do think that The Rock and Roman are going to lose that tag match. I think they're going to lose that tag match. Something's going to happen between them that makes them lose that match, and then because Roman can't win clean, period. You look at any of his matches, that big matches, he has yet to win clean. Can't. Because I don't even think he's that good, honestly. That's it. I don't even think he's that good. But I think Cody is a better personality. He's everything for WWE right now, and they need to give him the belt. If they don't, like Beckerman said, he is going to fade off. There is not going to be a next year finishing his story because we'll be over it. We don't want that.
That's way too long of a story.
Yeah, like come on, man.
That's why I said he's going to lose, and then he's going to go on a huge losing streak. Like he'll lose all,
and then he's going to come back at Rumble, win a third Rumble. The James Willie prediction, you've heard it here first.
Think about it.
That is Roman Reigns.
How annoyed you would be, okay? Right? You'd be over the story, and then you'd be like, yeah, he's losing. And then you'd forget about it. And then all of a sudden, he wins the Rumble? Then he wins the title, then finishes his story?
Because at that point, I don't even want to see
years later.
But no,
you have him be the one that takes the strap off of Roman?
Rock.
The Rock. You have him take it off The Rock.
Well, Roman loses his belt to The Rock.
Okay.
Not to Cody.
Roman, I hate Roman Reigns so much. No.
I used to hate Roman more when he constantly had wet hair.
Right?
It's like what how many showers a day does this guy take?
Yeah.
His hair was always wet, no matter where you saw him,
pants?
his hair was wet.
When he used to not wear pants, he used to just wear those like brief tights.
Yeah. And he always had a bulletproof vest on. Like, is somebody trying to shoot him?
Oh, the Shield.
Yeah. I just hated the bulletproof vest gimmick because it's like, unless somebody's bringing a gun to the ring, I don't need to see anybody in a bulletproof vest.
Well, his finisher is, I mean, it's kind of classical, but it's just it's unbelievable, and not in a good way. Like, I don't believe in it, you know.
And how is having a bulletproof vest legal? Isn't that a foreign object?
Oh, it is a foreign object, yes. But what Biggie said, his finisher, he jumps up in the air and punches someone. You're not getting any force behind a punch up in the air. It's not happening.
Alan, The Rock's one of his 5 moves used to be spitting into his right hand and throwing a punch.
That was not a finisher.
Wasn't a finisher, but it was like a move he used
special
consistently.
Move. One of his special moves.
Does that load the punch, the spit?
Yes.
Is it hygienic?
Who was it? Wasn't it John Cena had was it 5 moves of doom?
No, that's Kevin Nash.
No, it was John Cena.
You know, speaking of John Cena, did you guys ever watch the I can't remember what the hell it was. They were trying to find out who the strongest wrestler was, and everybody unanimously said it was John Cena. Because when he had you up in a hold, you were there. You were secure. You weren't going nowhere.
Yeah.
What about CM Punk at WrestleMania?
Is it possible? I thought he was hurt. I don't think it's possible, is it?
He might cost Rollins
be a referee. Doesn't mean he can't be a referee to be there to have to force him to count the 3 so that Drew McIntyre can be the new champ.
Kevin Nash, I was thinking about. I was at a panel once and somebody gave him the Kevin Nash only had 5 moves thing. And he said, no, there was a 6th move when I banged your mom. That's what I was confused.
Kevin Nash's mic work's underrated, man. If you go back to the WCW days, dude, he would say some funny stuff.
I used to love the survey.
That was Scott
Survey
Hall, baby.
says
Oh man, the Scott Hall. It was so.
Isn't that
the
2
A&E
years?
It's been 2 years, and
Today.
the A&E biography was so
Today,
sad,
I think
man.
it was. No?
Yeah, today is
2-year anniversary
was
of his
today.
passing.
Oh,
right.
R.I.P. to my NWO brother, Scott Hall. He top 5 for me. Absolutely one of my favorite wrestlers, yes.
The bad guy.
how great was Spooky Fingers?
Dude, I love the greatest, dude. And how about the one where he spit on Stevie Ray and then he tags in Nash?
You talk about
Well,
that
I
was
like
a good
when they-
finisher too.
When they
Scott Hall's.
cattle prodded Goldberg,
Yeah,
doused him in water and zapped him.
Beautiful.
We're just
and
taking
even
the belt.
though it was at a time in his life where he was on a lot of substances, arguably a top 5 stunner.
And then he had to get the security, remember? The real
Yeah.
security. It was real security because he was scared.
When Scott Hall took the stunner, though, that was a great stunner.
Yeah.
Because he did a 2-parter, right? He did the stunner and then he like staggered, and then Austin hit him again and he did the
Yeah.
full-on jump.
Yeah.
They took 2.
Did the old rock maneuver.
Yeah.
The backwards.
Rock
flip.
really
Yeah,
touched
him
on
and
that one.
Rock had very similar stunner. That's a good point.
Yeah,
You're
that's
right.
right. That's what I figured. I figured the same thing, Papa.
What do y'all think about Booker T saying Rock stole all this stuff? The bookend, the what else was it? Smell
Well,
what
not the
Booker T.
Spinneroonie.
There was not the Spinneroonie, but there was about 3 or 4 things he brought up. I was like, that's interesting. Did y'all know that Sting didn't like Bret Hart because he said Bret Hart stole a lot of his gimmick too?
Well, he tried
they
to
had
claim
the same
that Stinger
finisher.
took the leg lock. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that he took the Scorpion Deathlock?
Yeah.
Or
He
the-
took.
the
That's exactly
sharpshooter,
it.
what do you call
Right. And Sting actually had like a pink and black leather suit that looked very similar to Bret Hart's before Bret Hart did it.
Yeah, I want to say about 86 or 85. With the tassels, I remember that.
I was just thinking about all the,
Yeah, you
Scott
gotta
Hall was
try
a
and get something that
legendary, shit stirrer. Like he liked to say things to get people going. And I remember a story he told about Bubba, and I've heard both sides of it. Bubba Ray tells a similar version, and Scott told his version. And it was when the Dudleys, when Scott first met them, and he's like, "Oh man, I love your guys' move. Like, I love that 3D. I like your whole style and everything." And they were like, "Oh, thanks, man. Thanks." Like, and Scott said, "This is in TNA." And Scott said, "Yeah, man, I can't wait to kick out of it." And he said the look on Bubba's face just went blank, like, because nobody kicked out of the 3D. And he was like, and I've heard Bubba's version where he was like, I didn't know what to say. Like, I was furious, but not in a position to like start screaming about it. And like they held on to it. And years later, he ran into him at like a Comic-Con or something. And Bubba came up and said, Scott, you never kicked out of the 3D. And Scott was like, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, well, you told me you were going to kick out of it. And he's like, I did. And that was the thing. It lived rent free in Bubba's head for years. Guy was just like, whatever, man. Yeah.
That's hilarious. He had a really sharp mind. I remember he would talk about Bret Hart too. He'd say, "I've never met such a mark in my life. I went into Bret Hart's house once, and this guy had posters all over his wall of himself." The biggest mark I've ever met.
Hogan was the name of the NWO. He was the champ. But Scott Hall was the cool.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he made the NWO just look
Oozing
cool.
machismo, you mean?
Oozing machismo.
I'm taking a little survey.
Mhm.
He was great.
Yeah.
True.
He had that match with Shawn Michaels, and I don't know if anybody ever made Shawn Michaels look so good, you know, in a ladder match to boot, you know. Like,
Oh, that ladder match was amazing.
yeah, for a big guy, he called himself the best medium-sized big guy or something like that, and he was right, dude.
Medium sexy, the Nash killer.
Oh, you know what I was just thinking? So all of the Bloodline have matches except for Solo.
Hmm.
John Cena
John China.
doesn't
the
have a
hell?
match.
What the hell's Randy Orton doing? Like, is he just riding a pine? Like,
Logan
He's going to be
Paul.
wrestling Logan Paul
oh God.
because the whole
I mean,
draft.
So
Good
that he
man,
can win
Logan
his
Paul.
U.S. title, and then have the Grand Salami.
And
'cause
the
that's
Pauls
only
need to
title
just
he has.
go away, both of them.
For real.
Isn't the other Paul fighting Mike Tyson?
He's going to get
July.
knocked out by Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Unless it's truly rigged. I mean, because he's going to irritate Tyson, and Tyson will put him down.
What's the age?
Hopefully,
30 years.
hopefully,
Ooh, I'm
hopefully.
just saying, Alan.
Look at
I mean,
Tyson's training videos.
yeah, I'm on Tyson's side for sure. He just
He's
got
so
way too
fast.
much
Trust
skill.
me, I would love to watch Tyson knock him out, but I'm just saying.
How much is that going to cost?
All you
Go
need
Netflix.
when you're a heavyweight, dude, it's one punch. Anybody can get knocked out. One punch.
He's gonna hurt him bad. Yeah, I don't.
So
All right, so
gonna be
you can take the guy that basically knocked out Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas, who got lucky, and like compare him to,
I wouldn't say he got lucky.
Jake
He
Paul.
caught him. He caught him. That's all.
but measure him up to Jake Paul. Who's better, Buster Douglas or Jake Paul?
Two different times.
People,
I'd
people.
more be
Two
worried
different
about
weight classes. Because
the
Jake
Mike
Paul's
Tyson
not a
and
natural
Kevin
heavyweight.
McBride.
He's moving up.
That's the end of the story right there.
I was looking at the numbers a few days ago, and people were like, "Oh, Tyson's old." Tyson just went the distance with Roy Jones, and Roy Jones is 4 years out of being middleweight champion or some shit.
Yeah, and no uppercuts. No uppercuts.
And
He didn't hit Roy Jones in
So,
the face.
you took away Tyson's strongest attribute. You know what I'm saying?
Tyson didn't box for 20 years, and he hung in there with the guy that just got out 4 years ago. So
Yeah,
I
and
feel
he
like
wasn't in
Tyson's
shape.
I agree 100%. But I'm just saying, like, heavyweights are different, man. Anybody can just get caught once, especially because of the fact that Tyson has been knocked out before. He's been knocked down. So he's got the button. Once you've been knocked, it's sad but true. Like, did you guys watch the boxing this last weekend? Look at Ngannou.
But
Everyone was
here's
like,
the thing: does Jake
never
Paul
been knocked
have
down.
the boxing knowledge to able to get Mike Tyson? Because I don't think he does.
He has the knowledge enough that he could block and make him frustrated to counter. Yes, anybody can. You know, it's just you gotta see. He's gonna have to take him deep. You see what I'm saying? He's gonna have to try to stick and move, and literally stick and move, and stay away from him. He's not gonna want to be in the clinch or in the corner.
Only one fighter has beaten Tyson, and that's Evander Holyfield. That's it.
well, there was Lewis,
Got lucky.
Lennox Lewis, Buster Douglas.
Right, no, but he came back and beat both of them.
He never beat Lewis. No,
No, he never beat Lewis.
Never fought Lewis again.
No,
I think he might have fought him once. Yeah, it was just once. I hear what you're saying though. Like he hasn't
lost
been
to
like
Kevin
whoop.
McBride.
What?
Yeah, that's another one.
That was
That was like him out of prison and strung
yeah.
out. Weird.
No,
Doesn't
Right.
matter. He lost it.
no training. No, I meant actually get handled in the ring.
Yeah, not too often. You're right.
He
Only
quit.
one fighter is
He
actually
quit in
handled
the
him.
ring.
what
I
about?
paid for that pay-per-view, Alan.
Yeah, what
Tyson
about?
broke my heart that night.
Boxers, since they're talking about boxers, and Pop just made a really good point, is Muhammad Ali getting into the Hall of Fame finally.
Oh yeah, Muhammad
Right.
Ali. I thought he was already in.
Why did it take so long? Because it shouldn't have.
Well, I think that's what they're going to correct. They're going to have a lot more people going in each year. I think.
What you think about Paul Heyman getting in? I'm good with it.
It took for Vince McMahon to get out. You know how long Vince McMahon hated Paul Heyman?
It's really shitty because Heyman's done a lot for the industry.
Yeah.
How many times has Vince fired Heyman? At least once.
It was more than that.
I think it's twice.
You guys remember when Paul Heyman would call into the Super Show or whatever, and Vince would answer the phone, and Paul Heyman would be like,
"I love that clip, Biggie."
He did it multiple times. It was like, it's so good.
Your name's not like whatever. It's Paul Heyman. Oh, they all look so annoyed. And then there's Cornette in the back of the room just laughing.
Yeah, he's like, are you guys going to at least give me credit for trying to steal my extreme side of wrestling? All your wrestlers are now extreme, and you're just being like ECW, and it's clearly Paul Heyman. He's like saying his name's Bob or something.
Yeah, it's really good clip. Well, guys, I think that's it for the night. Pop, you good? So we're going to wrap it up. Alan, tell us where you'll be.
Where I always am, on the Common Viking YouTube channel every Tuesday with my boy Beckerman and the Hucklebuck and our friend Deadpool.
Nah, not me. Go to Biggie.
Tomorrow night, Comic Collector Club, me, the Immortal Biggie Shack, versus Comic Collector Geek Allen in a variant battle. Then, yeah, it's going to be good. And then D-Runk versus Bleeker in a variant battle. And then Callie, Lady Fantastic, and Hialeah, variant. All variants the whole night. So come on over and check us out. And I'm getting closer to my 181. I'm at about 1,400, baby. So let's go.
Help! He's got a boner! Get off me, partner!
What's going on, everybody? Yeah, you just catch me Sundays over on RJW's Invasion, and then I'll be on other auctions coming up soon enough. Just been taking a break, so yeah, appreciate having you have me on here, Papa, and I'll be here next Thursday.
I'll be on Comic Viking. I'll be here every Thursday. Bleeker's Church on Sundays. Is that everything I do? Yeah, that's
you do everything.
I'm everywhere, man.
You can lease his time.
You got anything this weekend? You got a sale? Nope, no sale. We just welcome him back. Let's give a round of applause to Pop. Glad to have you back, buddy.
Yeah, it's good having you back, brother.
All right, that's it.
And I'm out too.